Breaking news out of Bogota. Officials said that at least 5 people were killed and another were injured when a car bomb exploded in Bogota in Las Curadas Oficiales de Santander.
Welcome once again to MB News. Today we have a special in our channel. We are going to move with Lituana that is in Salvador de Bahia in Brazil with a special guest. Good afternoon, Lituana. Can you tell us about our special? Good afternoon, everybody. I'm here with Isabela Alvarez, Marcelo Bredet's wife. She is here to tell us about the company and its problems, and she is going to focus on an important event that happened here in Colombia. Isabela, first, in order to contextualize our viewers, can you explain us what is the Overdrex company and its main focus in Latin America?
So, good afternoon. Overdrex is a multinational company that was created here in Salvador de Bahia. It was created in 1944 by my husband's grandfather, Norberto Overdrex. Okay, their company works in construction and real estate projects, and also part of the manufacture of chemical and petrochemical products. They work worldwide. They work in Latin America, in Africa, and Europe, and it is known as the biggest Latin American company.
But wait, Isabela, can you please tell us about your husband? What was his role in Overdrex? Why did he end in jail?
Okay, my husband led the company since 2005 until March 2016. He entered to the company in replacement of his father. His grandfather led him with a bunch of payment of bribes. So this means that the bribes came from his grandfather's legacy. He didn't bring corruption to the company. The corruption was already then in there when he entered. It was proved that they paid more than 30 million in bribery to the Petrobras oil. The first corruption cases of Overdrex were money laundering and illicit association. Marcelo first trial sentenced him to 19 years of prison and 4 months. But 1 year later, he was under house arrest that was better for his last 10 years of prison. Even though his sentence reduced for 10 years, Marcelo was sentenced because of corruption and was captured thanks to a plan called Lava Jato.
Okay, in order to understand this process, can you please explain and clarify what was Lava Jato, why was it developed, and how did it take place in Overdrex case?
Okay, yes. First of all, Lava Jato was an operation that was considered the biggest investigation of corruption in Brazil, and it took place in 2014. It involved more than 4 legislators. The operation was named Lava Jato because the money that was won from money laundering, they said that was money produced in laundries and gas stations, approximately since 1997. Okay, they said they support the money, saying that it was produced, like as I said before, in the gas station. That's why it was not as obvious as they thought. Okay, this investigation was led by the federal officers of Brazil in order to search about the money laundering. Okay, now that I have clarified what Lava Jato is, now I can tell you what is the relationship between Lava Jato and Overdrex. Okay, Overdrex is one of the main companies involved in the process of Lava Jato. They, Marcelo's and the company declared themselves guilty with USA, Switzerland, and Brazil justice because they said that they had paid briberies.
So, this means that the briberies of Overdrex not only happens in Brazil, the bribery spread worldwide. Can you tell us what other countries were involved and affected by Overdrex bribery, and about how much money was invested?
Yes, the truth was that there were more countries involved with the bribery of Overdrex. There were about 12 countries involved. It was 2 African countries and 10 Latin American. These countries include Mexico, Brazil, Colombia, Peru, Argentina, Panama, Dominican Republic, and also Mozambique, and I think Venezuela. And well, you were asking about the money. There were more than 785 million of dollars in 2001. This has been such a serious case of corruption that other countries were affected. For example, in the case of Peru, when Alejandro Toledo, that was the president of Peru between 2001 and 2006, he was a fugitive after he had received $20 million given by Odebrecht in order to allow them to build a highway between Brazil and Peru. And I also want you to know that the company created something called La Caja B, and this means it was a thing that was made between the 80s, and it was called Sector de Relaciones Estratégicas, and this was made in order to support the allies that they had.
Okay, but wait, let's move to Colombia. Can you please tell us more about Colombia? How was Odebrecht related with Colombia and what was the role they played?
In Colombia, Odebrecht started working in 1992, and it had worked for about 14 constructions. But the main case of corruption started in 2012, when Odebrecht was hired to work in La Ruta del Sol 2. La Ruta del Sol 2 is a really big highway that was built from the center of the country to the northern part of Colombia. Odebrecht was in charge of about 63% of the construction, and the other company that was working with them was Corfi Colombiana. This company was in charge of about 33%, and this was one of the biggest projects in which Colombia had ever invested in. The highway cost about $3.2 billion.
But wait, why did they start investigating about the La Ruta del Sol 2 construction?
This process started to be investigated after Odebrecht confessed they had paid bribes to Gabriel Garcia. Gabriel Garcia was the transport minister, and Gabriel Garcia confessed that he had received about $6.5 million.
And do you know what are the legal measures that Colombia and the rest of the countries are taking for all this case of corruption?
And almost all countries in which they were involved, they would have to pay a fee. For example, in Colombia, they have been imposed a penalty fee for $250 million. They have been imposed to pay a fee because all the bribery they commit in the country. For example, in the US, they'll have to pay the fee for $2,600 million. In Panama, they'll have to pay $220 million. In Switzerland, about $195 million. In Dominican Republic, about $184 million. And in the rest of the countries that they were involved, for example, in Peru, and Brazil, in Argentina, Mexico, and Guatemala, they are getting into an agreement, or they just imposed a fee for them.
But wait a second, you didn't finish telling us about Colombia. You missed a very important event. I have heard about the death of Jorge and Alejandro Pizano. That I think it happened last year, was it? Also, can you tell us who was Jorge Enrique Pizano and where did he work and what was his job?
Yes, it was last year. This was a really weird event. Jorge Enrique Pizano was 57 years old, was an engineer that used to work for Corfi Colombiana, that, as I already said before, it was a company that used to work with Odebrecht. They used to work building the La Ruta del Sol. He worked as an auditor, and it was in charge of La Ruta del Sol.
Okay, but can you please tell me more about him? Can you tell us about his death and about his son? How come he died a few days after his father? What does Jorge have to be with Odebrecht? What I have heard, it's been really weird.
Yes, it has been really weird. Jorge Pizano was the person that gave the biggest announce about Odebrecht. Since 2012, he started announcing Odebrecht because of bribery, as I said before. The thing was that this announcement appeared after Jorge Pizano was dead. because before Jorge died, he gave an interview to a news channel where he told all the truth about the corruption of Odebrecht. This video was censored and it could be only come to the surface if Jorge Pizano died or if he was taken to another country under protection.
And what was the video about? Why was it censored?
The video revealed all the truth of Odebrecht. It included that the nation's general attorney, Nestor Humberto Martinez, knew all the truth behind the bribery. He was informed and he didn't reveal the truth. The weirdest thing about all this is that Pizano died 2 months after the interview.
What? Were they poisoned?
Well, it looks like, but deaths were investigated by Legal Medicine of Colombia. The hypothesis that they had at the beginning was that Jorge died as a result of poisoning with cyanide. But then they found it was because of a heart attack. And there were no samples of cyanide in his body. But the drink with which Alejandro was poisoned was full of fingerprints that belonged to Jorge Pizano.
What a foreign case. Nobody's going to know the truth for a while of how the cyanide arrived to the bottle. So, this is the end of this interview. It was a pleasure to having you in our MV News. Thank you for your time. Now we can come back to our news.
Okay, now I have last minute news. We're here with Valeria Gonzalez that just approved social studies. Okay, Valeria, what do you think about this?
I'm really happy. I want to thank my family, friends, my boyfriend.
Okay, I'm really happy for you. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you.